Hiding outside the kitchen, I heard my stepkids laughing. He's so desperate for us to like him. It's actually pathetic. I walked in with 7 years of receipts. The laughter stopped immediately when they saw me standing in the doorway. Tyler, now 21, went pale. Ashley, 19, dropped her phone. Jordan, 17, just stared. I wasn't supposed to be home for another 3 hours. I'd left a job site early to grab specialized tools from my home office, tools for a $50,000 electrical contract I'd just landed. Instead, I found myself holding a manila folder containing 7 years of financial records I'd been meticulously maintaining, documents I'd never planned to use until this exact moment. "Don't stop on my account," I said calmly, setting the folder on the granite countertop I'd installed myself 2 years ago. "Please continue explaining how pathetic I am." Tyler tried to recover first, that same dismissive smirk crossing his face that I'd seen 1,000 times. "Kevin, we were just—" "In my kitchen," I interrupted, emphasizing the possessive. "In the house where I pay the mortgage, the utilities, your car insurance, your college fund contributions, your everything." Ashley rolled her eyes, that practiced teenage gesture she'd never grown out of. "God, here we go with the money thing again. You chose to marry Mom. Nobody forced you to pay for stuff." I pulled out my phone and started recording. They needed to see I was serious. "You're absolutely right, Ashley. I chose this. I chose to raise 3 kids who weren't mine for 7 years. I chose to pay $2,800 a month for this mortgage. I chose to cover your $400 monthly dance academy fees. I chose to pay for Tyler's car repairs last month. What was that? $3,200? And Jordan's SAT prep courses at $300 per session. I chose all of it." "Stop being so dramatic," Jordan muttered, but I caught the uncertainty in her voice. She was smart enough to sense where this was heading. Dramatic? I opened the folder and spread out the documents. Bank statements, receipts, utility bills, everything highlighted and categorized. "Let me show you dramatic. Over the past 7 years, I've invested $427,000 into this family, not including my time, my labor, or the emotional investment in 3 children who just called me pathetic for caring about them." The kitchen fell silent. Even Tyler's perpetual smirk faltered. "But here's what's really pathetic," I continued, my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. "I'm a senior electrical contractor. I make $180,000 a year. I own 3 rental properties your mother doesn't even know about. I have a portfolio worth $1.2 million that I built before I ever met any of you. And I chose to spend my resources building what I thought was a family." Rebecca walked in then, home early from her retail management job. She took one look at the scene, the documents spread across the counter, the kids' guilty faces, my recording phone. She knew something had finally broken. "What's going on?" she asked carefully. "Your children were just explaining how I'm not really family," I said, maintaining that same deadly calm. "How I'm just the pathetic guy who pays for everything while desperately seeking their approval. So, I'm showing them exactly what that pathetic guy has been providing." "Kevin, please," Rebecca started, but I held up my hand. "No. For 7 years, I've listened to Kevin, please, every time they disrespected me. Every time they reminded me I'm not their real dad. Every time they made it clear I'm just the wallet. Well, they're right. I'm not their dad. Derek is. So, let Derek handle it." I picked up my phone and made a call I'd been preparing for months. "James, it's Kevin. Yeah, I need you to initiate those documents we discussed, the property transfer, the utility switches, everything, effective immediately." James Hartley was my attorney, a friend from my Marine Corps days who'd transitioned into family law. We'd been quietly preparing for this possibility for 6 months. Ever since Tyler had told me at his graduation that I didn't need to attend because only real family was invited, after I'd paid for his entire senior year expenses. "Kevin, what are you doing?" Rebecca's voice was rising, panic setting in. "I'm knowing my place," I said, looking directly at Tyler. "Isn't that what you've all been telling me? That I need to know my place?" "Well, my place is apparently not here, so I'm removing myself from the equation." "You can't just—" Tyler started, but I cut him off. "I can't what? Stop paying for your car insurance? That's done as of tonight. Stop covering your community college tuition. Consider it stopped. The family phone plan? You'll need to figure that out with your mom and Derek. Ashley's phone immediately buzzed. My phone's already not working. That's impossible. The billing cycle doesn't. She held up her phone, showing no service. I smiled coldly. Unless I called Verizon an hour ago when I first got home and heard your little conversation. See, I've been planning for this possibility. I just needed to hear you say it out loud to know I was making the right decision. Jordan, always the most perceptive, understood first. You were already going to leave? No, Jordan. I was hoping, praying that one day you'd see me as family. But hope doesn't pay bills and prayers don't earn respect. So yes, I had contingency plans. I'm a project manager by training. I always have contingency plans. I turned to Rebecca. The house is in both our names, but I've been paying 100% of the mortgage. You have 3 options. Buy out my equity. That's $340,000 based on current market value. Sell the house and split the proceeds. Or continue living here while I charge you market rate rent for my half. That's $2,100 a month. Kevin, this is insane. You can't just destroy our lives because the kids said something stupid. Something stupid? I pulled out my phone and played a recording from 3 months ago. Tyler's voice filled the kitchen. I don't care what Kevin thinks. He's not my father. He's just the idiot who pays for everything. Then Ashley from last month. Kevin's trying to come to my dance recital. How do I tell him real family only? And Jordan from just last week. Mom, can't you divorce Kevin but keep getting money from him somehow? Rebecca's face went white. The kids looked at the floor. I've been recording for 6 months, I said quietly. Not to be vindictive, but to remind myself I'm not crazy, that this isn't in my head, that the disrespect is real and consistent. That's illegal, Tyler sputtered. Actually, it's not. This is my house, I'm on the deed, and this state is a one-party consent state for recordings. I checked with James. Speaking of legal matters, I pulled out another document. This is a detailed accounting of every penny I've spent on this family. If we divorce Rebecca, this all becomes marital assets subject to division. The money I spent on your children, that's considered marital waste since they're not mine, and I have no legal obligation to them. What does that mean? Rebecca asked, her voice small. It means you could owe me half of that $427,000 back in the divorce settlement. Or we can do this amicably. I walk away clean. You keep what I've already given, but the gravy train stops now. Tyler stood up, trying to salvage some dignity. Fine, we don't need you anyway. Our real dad. Your real dad, who's $47,000 behind in child support? I interrupted. The one who hasn't seen you in 8 months? The one whose phone is disconnected because he can't pay his bills? That dad? How do you know about? Because I hired a private investigator 3 months ago. Derek is working under the table as a bartender, living in his girlfriend's basement, and driving a car that's about to be repossessed. But sure, he can definitely step up and provide for you. The room was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. The $3,000 refrigerator I'd bought last year when the old one died. Here's what's going to happen, I said, gathering up my documents. I'm moving out tonight. I've already rented a furnished apartment downtown. Been paying for it for 2 months actually, just in case. Tomorrow, James will send over the paperwork. Rebecca, you have 30 days to decide what you want to do about the house. Where are we supposed to go? Jordan asked, tears starting to form. That's not my problem anymore. I'm not family, remember? I'm just the pathetic guy who tried too hard. Well, now I'm the pathetic guy with excellent credit, substantial savings, and no ungrateful dependents. I walked to my office, the one I'd renovated myself, working weekends for 2 months. I grabbed the go bag I'd been keeping there. 6 months of planning for this moment, hoping it would never come, but preparing for it anyway. When I came back, Rebecca was crying, the kids were in various states of shock, and reality was settling in like a cold fog. Kevin, please, let's talk about this. The kids will apologize. No. The word came out harder than I intended. An apology now isn't genuine remorse. It's fear of consequences. They're not sorry for how they treated me. They're sorry the money is stopping. That's not true, Ashley protested. We do care about you. Really? Name one birthday present you've gotten me in 7 years. One Father's Day card. One time you've said thank you without your mother prompting you. Silence. I'm not even asking for much. Just basic human decency. The acknowledgement that I've been here, present, providing, caring. But I'm the pathetic one for expecting that, right? I looked at each of them one last time. Tyler, who I'd taught to drive in the parking lot of the abandoned mall, spending 6 Saturdays in a row, patiently coaching him through parallel parking. Ashley, whose dance recitals I'd attended religiously, even when she told me not to come, sitting in the back row just to support her. Jordan, who I'd stayed up with until 3 a.m., helping with her science fair project on electromagnetic fields. A project that won first place. I loved you all, I said quietly. Not because I had to, but because I chose to. And you threw that love back in my face every single day. My phone buzzed, James texting that the utility transfers were complete. The kids' phones would shut off at midnight. The internet and cable would disconnect tomorrow. The electricity and water would remain on, but transfer to Rebecca's name, if she could qualify for the accounts. The car, Tyler said suddenly. You can't take my car. I'm not taking anything. The car's in your name. I'm just stopping the insurance payments. You can't legally drive it without insurance, but that's your problem to solve. How am I supposed to get to work? The same way you would if I'd never existed. Figure it out with your real dad. I headed for the door, my bag over my shoulder, my dignity intact for the first time in years. Kevin, wait, Jordan called out. I'm sorry, really sorry, not for the money stuff, but for not seeing you, for not appreciating you, for being cruel. I paused at the door. Of the 3, Jordan had always been the closest to breaking through. The youngest, the one who'd sometimes slip and call me Dad before catching herself. I believe you might actually mean that, Jordan, I said without turning around. But it's 7 years too late. So that's it? Rebecca asked. 7 years and you just walk away? I turned to face her one last time. You stood by for 7 years while your children treated me like hired help. Every time I brought it up, you said they needed time. They were adjusting. They were dealing with trauma. There was always an excuse. Well, I'm done being everyone's excuse. What about our marriage? What marriage? I'm married to a woman who lets her children treat me like an ATM, who never once, not once, stood up for me or demanded they show me basic respect. That's not a marriage. That's a financial arrangement, and I'm terminating the contract. I walked out, closing the door on 7 years of my life. Behind me, I could hear the muffled sounds of arguing, panic, and reality crashing down. But for the first time in years, it wasn't my problem to solve. The apartment I'd rented was a beautiful 2-bedroom in a luxury building downtown. 24th floor, city views, doorman, gym, the works. It cost less per month than I'd been spending on the family. I'd been slowly moving my important things there for weeks. Documents, tools, sentimental items. Everything else could be replaced. That first night alone, I sat on my new balcony with a beer, looking out at the city lights. My phone had 47 missed calls and over 100 texts. I didn't read any of them. Instead, I called my brother Marcus in Seattle. Finally grew a spine, huh? He said when I told him what happened. Marcus had been warning me for years, watching me pour myself into an empty well. Yeah, finally. Good. You deserve better than being someone's meal ticket. Over the next week, the attempts to contact me intensified. Rebecca sent long emails about how the kids were devastated, how Ashley had to quit dance because she couldn't afford it, how Tyler had to drop out of college because he couldn't pay tuition, how Jordan was crying herself to sleep. I forwarded every email to James with the same response. Please handle this through legal channels. Then came the social media campaign. Rebecca posted on Facebook about how I'd abandoned 3 innocent children, leaving out the years of disrespect and the fact that they had a biological father. Some mutual friends reached out, concerned. I sent them the recordings. The narrative quickly shifted. 2 weeks after I left, Derek showed up at my office, the biological father finally making an appearance. You need to man up and take care of your family, he said, trying to loom over my desk. I laughed. Actually laughed. My family? You mean your children? The ones you haven't paid child support for in 4 years? That's between me and Rebecca. No, Derek, it's between you and the state, which is why there's a warrant for your arrest for failure to pay child support. Would you like me to call them and let them know you're here?" He left quickly after that. A month into the separation, Tyler reached out directly. He'd gotten my number from one of my work colleagues. "Kevin, I know you hate us, but Mom can't pay the mortgage. We're going to lose the house." "I don't hate you, Tyler. I nothing you. And the house situation is between your mother and the bank. Can we at least talk? Man to man?" I agreed to meet him at a coffee shop. He looked rough, working 2 jobs to pay for his car and insurance, dropped out of college, stressed and exhausted. "I didn't realize," he started. "Didn't realize what? How much you did, how much everything costs, how hard it is. You're 21 years old, Tyler. You're just now realizing that life costs money?" I knew it intellectually, but I didn't. I didn't feel it. Mom's drowning. Ashley's working at McDonald's. Jordan's grades are tanking. And Derek won't even answer our calls. And I'm sorry. We're all sorry. Sorry that life got hard, or sorry for how you treated me. He was quiet for a long moment. Both, but mostly for how we treated you. You were good to us, and we were awful to you. Yes, you were. Is there any way to fix this? I thought about it, really considered it, but 7 years of patterns don't just disappear. Tyler, for 7 years, you all made it clear I wasn't family. You can't just flip a switch now because the money ran out. That's not how relationships work. So that's it? You're just done with us? You were done with me from day one. I just finally accepted it. 3 months after I left, Rebecca filed for divorce. She tried to claim I'd abandoned the family, but James had documented everything perfectly. The recordings, the financial records, the years of providing with no legal obligation to the children. The judge was not sympathetic to her case. The house sold quickly in the hot market. After the mortgage was paid off, Rebecca walked away with $170,000. Enough to start over, but not enough to maintain the lifestyle I'd provided. They moved into a 3-bedroom apartment in a less desirable school district. Tyler worked full-time to afford community college part-time. Ashley gave up dance entirely. Jordan's grades improved eventually, but the instability had taken its toll. 6 months after I left, I met Olivia at a professional conference. She was a financial analyst, divorced, no kids, and had her life together. We connected over our shared experiences of being taken for granted. "The difference is," she said on our 3rd date, "I got out after 2 years. You stayed for 7. You're either a saint or a masochist." "Probably both," I admitted. "We've been together for a year now. She treats me like an equal partner, not a wallet. We split things fairly, appreciate each other, and there's no drama. It's peaceful, it's respectful. It's everything my previous relationship wasn't." Last month, Jordan sent me a letter, a real letter, handwritten, not a text or email. "Dear Kevin, I know you'll probably throw this away, but I need you to know something. You were the only real father I ever had. Derek was never there. You were. Every dance recital, every school play, every soccer game. You were there. I'm sorry it took losing you to see you. I'm sorry we were so cruel. I'm sorry we made you feel like you didn't matter when you were the only one who actually showed up. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect anything. I just needed you to know that I know now. I know what we lost. We lost the only person who ever really chose us. I'm working now, saving for college. I think about what you used to say about planning and preparing. I'm trying to be better, to be someone who would have deserved what you offered. Thank you for 7 years, even if we didn't deserve them. Jordan." I kept the letter. I didn't respond, but I kept it. Maybe someday when she's older, when enough time has passed, we might have a conversation, but not now. Not when the wounds are still fresh and the patterns are still too recent. Rebecca remarried last month, a guy named Tom who has 2 kids of his own. I heard through mutual friends that Tyler, Ashley, and Jordan are struggling with the new dynamic. Tom's kids come first, apparently. The irony isn't lost on me. Derek is in jail for back child support and tax evasion. Turns out working under the table catches up with you eventually. As for me, I'm thriving. My business has expanded. I'm investing in real estate again. And Olivia and I are planning a future together, a future built on mutual respect and genuine partnership. Sometimes I think about those 7 years. The money doesn't matter. I've already made it back. The time is gone, but it taught me valuable lessons. The emotional investment, that's the part that still stings sometimes. But I learned something important. You can't love someone into respecting you. You can't buy your way into a family. And you can't force people to see your worth. The kids learned something too. The difference between a father who shares your DNA and a father who shows up. Unfortunately, they learned it too late. Was I wrong to walk away? To cut them off completely? To choose my own dignity over their convenience? No, I wasn't wrong. I was 7 years late. They told me to know my place. I finally did. My place was somewhere I was valued, appreciated, and respected. And that place was definitely not with them.